Thank you, Alexandra.
From
now,
psychedelics to what, David?
Taxpayer-funded hormone therapy. Hey, it's no surprise. Yet another federal judge stepping on President Trump's presidential authority. This time, blocking his common sense executive order to end government-subsidized sex change treatments for transgender inmates.
Let's put a price tag on it. Gender transition surgeries can cost up to $63,000 per prisoner.
And prisoners like this one, you may recall, out of Indiana, a biological male convicted of killing a baby who demanded sex reassignment surgery while imprisoned, a demand he was granted by a federal judge in the state.
Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita led the charge in his state against this insanity. He joins us now. Attorney General, he's in studio with us. Great to see you. Where does this judge's ruling leave you and your fight against taxpayers having to fund this grotesqueness?
Well, it's another straw on our back, right? You know, it's going to make it that much harder. But I'm confident in the end we're going to win. I mean, common sense has got to play into some of these decisions at some point, if not now. And by the way, you say $60,000 or so for these surgeries. I believe that's just the initial surgery, Dagan, right? So we have to remember that these surgeries will then, they continue on. You have to continue to have these surgeries throughout the person's life. So we're estimating per prisoner, this could go into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Of course, that's not the point. The point is that this is not, to not do the surgery or not do the hormones is not cruel and unusual punishment under the Constitution. That's ridiculous. I mean, you name the founder who thought that something like this would have been considered, to deprive something like this, would have been considered a cruel and unusual punishment. Absolutely not. And so that's why I say, at the end of the day, common sense has to rule. This is the American people, certainly my fellow Hoosiers, do not want to pay for these things.
Where does that common sense come from? Is it the Supreme Court? You've joined other states. There are now 24 states. You're leading this charge, the amicus briefs. Does this have to go there to stop this kind of lawfare?
I think eventually it will be there. Now, does it have to stop, go to the Supreme Court to get stopped? No, but I think it'll be there. And
is it necessary for that?
It shouldn't be necessary, but here we are with these judges who like to, you know, one district judge or so, and, you know, even some of the appellate court judges like to rule for the entire nation now. And so what I appreciate about this process, even as frustrating as it is exposing for the American people how we need some judicial reform here, some judicial restraint, that one unelected judge can't make these rulings for all of us. It's a ridiculous proposition. Again, the founders never meant that. And you got to remember, too, about these prisoners. If we can go back to the fellow that was on the screen that I'm dealing with right now. When these prisoners are in, they all become lawyers, right? They all have a lot, Dagan, they all have a lot of time on their hands. And so if this ruling was to stand, these prisoners will create chaos throughout the system. They will clog up the whole process and not only cost us money, but cost us a bunch of time. So this ruling cannot stand.
Why is it not cruel and unusual punishment to place a male prisoner in a female population?
Right, exactly. Or, we got to remember too, these surgeries really are still, in a lot of ways, experimental. And the data they're basing this on, this WPATH, the World Professional Association of Transgender, that data is all experimental as well. None of this is sound science. So you can argue it's cruel and unusual punishment to give the surgery, even if it's at their request.
And yet, what about the rights of the other prisoners, like Dagan's example? In New Jersey, we saw women get pregnant in a female prison by males who were placed there.
Yes.
What about the women's rights?
It's a safety. It's a safety issue. It's all that. I mean, they're in jail for a reason. Not all of them are sex crimes, but they're deviants of some kind. And the worst thing you can do is mix up populations like that.
Attorney General from Indiana, Todd Rokita, great to see you, sir.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
Yeah, please.